Israel's plan exposed what just changed. Something fundamental shifted. This isn't the usual cycle of strike, response, and temporary calm. What we're seeing now is a deeper transformation in how this conflict is being fought and where it's heading. Israel has expanded its targeting beyond military sites into critical infrastructure. These are not random strikes. They signal intent. In response, Iran escalated in a way we haven't seen at this scale. Coordinated, deliberate attacks on energy systems. Not symbolic retaliation, but precise strikes aimed at the backbone of the global economy. And that's the key turning point. This is no longer just a regional conflict. The Gulf isn't just a cluster of countries. It's the foundation of modern industrial life. Energy from this region powers supply chains, transportation, manufacturing, even food production. Disrupt it, and the effects ripple worldwide. Prices surge, markets react, supply chains tighten. A war in one region suddenly touches every economy. What we've crossed is a threshold, from a conflict over territory or politics to one that targets the system itself. And this escalation isn't accidental. Iran understands it cannot win a conventional war against the U.S. and its allies. So instead, it's targeting economic infrastructure, the systems that enable power, influence, and stability. It's a strategy designed to spread pain far beyond the battlefield. At the same time, Israel and the U.S. appear to be pursuing broader, more aggressive objectives. Not just containment, but weakening Iran's ability to function as a cohesive state. That includes targeting leadership, infrastructure, and economic pressure points to create internal instability. This is where the danger multiplies. When both sides pursue total objectives, there's no natural stopping point, no easy off-ramp. One side aims to dismantle, the other aims to disrupt the entire system supporting its opponent. There's no partial victory here, only escalation, and escalation tends to follow its own logic. As strikes go deeper, air power alone becomes insufficient. Holding territory or securing targets requires boots on the ground. That expands the conflict. More ground presence means more exposure. More exposure demands more protection. Step by step, the conflict grows. Not by one big decision, but by a chain of smaller, rational ones. At the same time, other players are pulled in. Gulf states face increasing pressure, balancing alliances with the U.S. while remaining vulnerable to retaliation. If they enter the conflict directly, the entire dynamic shifts. Then there's Pakistan, a nuclear-armed state with its own regional interests. While nuclear escalation remains unlikely, the mere presence of that capability changes how every decision is made. Then there's the maritime dimension. Global trade depends on narrow shipping routes, energy choke points that carry a massive share of the world's oil. Disrupt them even slightly, and the effects are immediate. Prices spike, insurance costs soar, supply chains begin to stall. Iran knows this and has the ability to exploit it. Layered on top of all this is the fog of war. Information is incomplete, reports are unconfirmed, and uncertainty fuels fear. Governments operating under pressure with partial information are more likely to make aggressive defensive decisions. The fog isn't just confusion, it's a driver of escalation. Another critical factor is leadership targeting. On the surface, removing key figures seems like a tactical win, but it often creates power vacuums. And in wartime, those vacuums are rarely filled by moderates. They're filled by the most aggressive, uncompromising actors, those who thrive in chaos. That makes future negotiation harder. Leaders, for all their flaws, often serve as the bridge to de-escalation. Remove them, and you remove potential deal makers. What's left are factions less willing or able to compromise. The conflict doesn't just escalate externally, it hardens internally. And right now, those off-ramps are disappearing. Communication channels are breaking down. Economic pressure is rising. Domestic politics are pushing toward confrontation. And ideological narratives are deepening the stakes. For some, this conflict is no longer just strategic, It's existential, even symbolic. When that happens, the tolerance for loss increases. Decisions shift. What would normally trigger restraint gets absorbed instead. Now we're looking at a conflict expanding across multiple dimensions: military, economic, psychological, and ideological. And each one reinforces the others. Infrastructure strikes drive economic pain. Economic pain fuels political pressure. Political pressure leads to more military action. Military action deepens ideological commitment. The cycle accelerates, and when you project forward, the pattern becomes clear. This is a conflict that doesn't easily contain itself. It expands, it pulls in more actors, it disrupts more systems, and it erodes the very conditions needed for resolution. This isn't just about intensity, it's about structure. The architecture of this conflict, the way it's evolving, is systematically removing its own exit paths. And when conflicts reach that stage, they tend to run on momentum. The question is no longer how to stop it. The question becomes, how far will it go before it burns itself out? Right now, every signal points in the same direction.